about is particular item or number that represents a group of data, that a particular item or number that describe a set of what data. And we said another major essential things, we have the mean, the mode, and the median. And we say that under the other mean, we have different type of mean which we are not going to pay attention, but for the sake of knowledge, we say that we have the arithmetic mean, the harmonic mean, the geometric mean. Then we talk about the median, that is the number occupies the middle position when the set of number is arranged in an ascending or descending order. Then we talk about mode, the number with the highest frequency. So today we'll be looking at how to solve the mean, how to calculate the mean. There are two ways of calculating mean for group data. We have the calculation of the mean using the assumed mean and calculation without an assumed mean. These are the two methods of calculating mean for group data, without assumed mean and with assumed mean. The formula for calculating mean is what? Is S bar, which is mean, equals to summation Fs divided by summation F. That is the mean without assuming is what? S bar, which signify mean, equals to what? Summation Fs all over summation F. So this is the formula for calculating mean for group data without using the assume mean. When we get to the assume mean, I will differentiate between the two methods. So here S bar stands for what? Our mean. S bar stands for mean. Why this sigma stands for what? Summation. Sigma stands for summation. F stands for what? Frequency. And S stands for our class mark. So let me wipe my screen so that we see it clearly. So this is what mean, which is S bar. This is summation. F here, which is this F, is our what? Frequency. And S, which is this S, is our what? Class mark. Before now, I have taught you how to calculate your how to obtain your class mark. That the class mark is the arithmetic mean of the upper and the lower class interval. So we want to continue use that previous table we obtained. The previous table we obtained from grouping that raw data. This was the table we obtained. So use the table below to calculate the mean of the distribution. Use the table below to calculate the mean of the distribution. This table below here is the table we obtain when we group that raw data of 25 mathematics students. So this is the table. We want to calculate the mean. We call the formula for the mean is what? S bar is equals to summation Fs all over summation F. That's the formula for what? S bar. So we have already grouped the table in our previous class, and this is the frequency. If you look at this formula, forget about the summation first. Ignore the summation, this sign of what? Summation. Just ignore it. So what we simply ignore these two signs for summation. Now let's focus on Fs. What's the meaning of Fs? Fs mean what? F times what? S, which is what? Frequency times our what? Class mark. Frequency times our what? Class mark. Before now, I've taught you how to calculate your frequency using your tally from grouping of data, and I've taught you how to get your what? Class mark. So what we simply do at this point, we use the frequency to multiply the what? Class mark, which is this column, times this what? Column. That will give us what? This what? Column. So let's do that now. So we take row times row in the two columns. So 47 times 3 is equal to 141. That's for that column. Then 52 times 4 is equal to 208. Then we have 57 times 7 is equal to 399. Pardon that. 399. Then we have 62 times 4 is equal to 248. Then we have 67 times 3 is equal to 201. Then the lastly we have was 42 times 4 is equals to what? 288. So that's our what? Fs. That's the value of what? Fs. Now let's go back to the formula. Look at the formula here. What was the meaning of summation? Summation means what? Add up. Summation means what? You should what? Add up. So this sign here, if you go back, this sign summation means that you should what? Add up. Add up. Summation. Add up. Summation. You add everything to what? Together. So to get summation Fs. To get our summation Fs, what we simply do, we add all the Fs together. So we add all these ones together, and if we add that together, we have what? 1,485. 1,485. Then if we add all our frequency together, it's equal to what? 25. Let me transform this so that you have a better view of it. Okay, this is the transfer version of it. So if you add all your frequency together, you give us 25. Then your Fs, which is of this, if you add them together, you give us 1,485. So we say the mean is what? Summation Fs all over summation what? F. So this is the mean, summation Fs all over summation F. Now what is summation Fs? We calculated our summation Fs as 1,485 and our summation F as what? 25. So if we impute this figure into the formula and this figure into the formula, what we have is what? This is the value of our mean, 1,485 divided by 25. And if we carry out this operation, we will obtain our mean as what? 59.4. That's the mean for our what? Data. So the mean of this data is what? 15. The mean of this data is what? 59.4. 59.4. So this one, we calculate this mean without what? Using the word assume mean. We calculated this mean without using the word assume mean. Now let's go to a scenario where we are asked in an exam condition to use the word an assume mean. If they want you to use an assume mean, if the examiner wants you to use an assume mean, the examiner will specify using an assume mean of your choice, or they will give you a particular figure to use as what? An assume mean. So let's go to the method 2. How to calculate the mean for group data using what? An assume mean. Using an assume what? Mean. The formula for mean using an assume mean is that the mean is equals to A plus summation FD all over summation F. Now, if you look at the formula of the mean without assuming, the mean is equals to summation Fs all over summation F. What's changed in this formula is that what? This D was used to replace S, then A was added to the what? Equation. So that's the formula for the what? Assuming. So I would want you to take your time to critically differentiate the two type of formula for assuming and without what? Assume mean. So this is the formula for what? Mean. Using what? Assume mean. Where S bar, as you can see here, is the what? Mean. Then sigma, as you can see here, still remain what? Summation. And A stands for the what? Assumed mean. Please take note, the assumed mean is any number that is assumed to be the mean. Any number, take note, any number that is assumed to be the mean. If I use any number of my choice and you use any number of your choice, we will all come out with the same what? Answer when we are calculating what the mean using the assume what? Mean method. So the assumed mean is any number that is assumed to be the what? Mean. Why D, this D you can see here, which is this D, is the deviation of S from the assumed mean. The deviation of what? S for assume, where S is our class mark. So S is the deviation of each of the word item or class mark from the word assume mean. S is the deviation of each of the class mark from the word assume. That is the assume mean S minus the word assume mean. which is what? D, which is deviation, is equal to S minus the what? Assume mean. S minus the what? Assume mean. So what you simply do, you'll be subtracting each of the class mark from the what? Assume mean. So before we proceed, I want you to put the formula, take it to heart. This is the formula for the what? Mean, using the what? Assume what? Mean method. That the mean is equals to the assume mean plus summation F deviation divided by summation F. So let's proceed. Okay, this table you are seeing on your screen is the same table that we have been using. This table that you are seeing on your screen is the same table we have been using. So let's continue with it. So using the table below, calculate the mean of the group data using an assume mean of your choice. Calculate the mean of the group data using an assume mean of your choice. Yeah, we were not told the assume mean to use. We are not told the assume mean to use. So what I will do, I want to use the assume mean of my home address. I want to use the assume mean of my home address. My home address is 65. So I'll be using 65 as my assume mean. So A will be equals to 65. That's my home address. Don't ask me the street, don't ask me the state, and don't ask me the local government. Pico. So this is my home address. So I'll be using this 65 as my assume mean to calculate. So let's solve. Recall that the formula of the assume mean is what? A plus summation FD divided by summation F. And I say I'm assuming is what? 65. So if we want to solve, the first thing we do, we have to obtain our D. Look at the formula. Look at the formula here. D. D is what? Deviation of each of the class mark from the assume mean. So what we simply do is subtract each of these items from the assume mean. The assume mean is what? 65. So each of the class mark, which is S now, we'll be subtracting it from the 65, and our answer is what we'll be using to fill this column, which is deviation. So what we simply do, the first one is 47 minus 65. 47 minus 65 will give us minus 18. The next one is 52 minus 65. It will give us minus 13. The next one will be 57 minus 65. It will give us minus 8. The next one is 62 minus 65. It will give us minus 3. And the next one is 67 minus 65. It will give us 2. And the next one is 72 minus 7. Minus 65 will give us 7. So that's our deviation of each of the class mark from the assume mean. So this is our D, which is deviation of each of the class mark from the assume mean. Take note, there's a shortcut to it. There's a shortcut to it. Look at the shortcut. Immediately you get this first one. Immediately you get the first one, take your calculator, press that figure, then add the class size to that one. Add the class size to that one. The class size is 5. You know, I'll calculate class 5 as 5. 54 minus 49 is 5. So that's the class 5. So what we will simply do, continue adding the class size. So the previous will be giving you the new class the new deviation. So minus 18 plus 5 is minus 13. Minus 13 plus 5 is minus 8. Minus 8 plus 5 is minus 3. Minus 3 plus 5 is 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. So that's how you obtain the, after getting the first one, you just keep adding the class size. So the next thing we will do at this point is to look for FD, as you can see in our formula. F or D. The formula you say we should look for FD. Frequency, which is this, frequency times the deviation. Frequency times, so we multiply these two column. Frequency times deviation. So let's multiply that to column. So the first one here is 3 times minus 18 is minus 54. The next one is 4 times 13 is equal to minus 52. The next one is 7 times 8. What's the answer? Minus 56. Yeah, minus 56. If my memory is not failing me. 4 times minus 3, minus 12. Then 2 times 3, that's 6. Then 7 times 4, that's what? 28. So what we simply do now, look at this part of the formula. We say we should look for summation FD. Summation FD is to add all these items together. Add all the items in the FD column together. So if we add everything together, we got minus 140. Minus what? 140. Yeah, that's it. Minus 140. Why? You know, this our summation F is to add all the F together. Summation F to add all the F together, which is 25. This is quite rough. Let me transform it. Yeah, better now. So this is the table we will obtain. And if you recall, the formula for what? Standard deviation. Sorry, the formula for mean, using the assume mean is what? A plus summation FD plus summation F. A plus summation FD plus summation F. And our A is what? 65. Summation FD is minus 114. Summation F is what? 25. So let's go into the formula. This is the formula. This is the formula for mean, using the assume mean. A plus summation FD divided by summation F. So our A is 65. A is what? 65. Summation FD is what? Minus 140. And summation F is what? 25. So at this point, let's divide. Minus 140 divided by 25 is what? Minus 5.4. Then at this point, we carry out our simple arithmetic. 65 plus minus 5.6 is what? 59.4. So that's the answer to it. Now take note. I just use an arbitrary figure. Any figure I like as my assuming. I just use my home address. And it gave me the same answer with the previous one we did using the what? The normal method, which is without assuming. It gave us 59.4. This method without assuming. And when we use the assuming method, it also gave us 59.4. So whichever method you are using is supposed to give you the same answer. And whatever number you are assuming as your mean, it gives you the same answer with any number I choose to assume. So I choose any number of my choice, it gave me the same answer. Any number of your choice you choose will also give you what? The same answer. So that's how to calculate the mean using assume mean and without assume mean. So what I want you to do is to go through the video over and over again until you assimilate every single point. Any point that is giving you difficulty,